Today we are looking at Practice 3 in Book 1 of the TABE Tutor Math. So here's the workbook. The lesson starts on page 6 of the text. And rather than go through all that, I'm just going to jump to that page. Now, if you were with me for that last lesson on rounding, that was a tough one, in my opinion. This one should be a little bit less challenging, but it's still very important because this is word problems. And while we're doing the addition and subtraction that a lot of you may already know how to do, if you don't, you'll learn how to do that here. But if you already know how to do that, focus on the word problem skills because those are so important when you take tests. So I'm on page 6 of Book 1. Remember, if your teacher has asked you not to write in the book, please don't. Just do your work on paper. And let me zoom in on number 1. It says to find the sum. I want you to notice that word sum because that means to add. Now, if you're prepping for HiSET, you've got a calculator. I would use it if I have it. But if you don't, some of you are prepping for other things where you can't use a calculator. And so let's look at how you would do this problem. First thing you want to do is line up your place values. So your ones, tens, and hundreds line up. And you always start with the ones. So 3 plus 1 is 4. 9 plus 8 is 17. Carry 1. When I teach students to do this, I always have them to circle the numbers they've carried so they can keep up with those. But that's just a habit for me. It doesn't mean you have to do that. The answer to number 1 is C, 674. Number 2. Nick scores 216 points in a basketball season. During the next season, he scores 527 points. How many total points does Nick score during the 2 seasons? The key word is total, and that's telling me that I need to add. So 216 and 527. And again, some of you are not able to use a calculator, so I'm doing it the long way. That's okay though. That's actually good. There's a carry. So that's 4 and 7. And the answer to number 2 is B. Look for those keywords. They will help you. They will really help you when you get to algebra. Things that you may not even be thinking about now, but you will need the keywords when you get to algebra. Find the difference. Difference means subtraction. So we have 671 minus 345. So this one involves some borrowing. You cannot take 5 from 1. So let's take one of those tens and add it to this one. So you're going to get an 11 right here. You borrowed a 10, you're adding that one, so you get an 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. 6 minus 4 is 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. So the answer to number 3 is A, 326. A lot of adults have trouble with borrowing. If you are one of them, do not be embarrassed or ashamed. It's just the way our brains are wired. And if you need extra help with that, let your instructor know. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't understand this. Number 4. Jerome has 2,374 words in his report. Diane has 1,645 words in her report. How many more words does Jerome's report have than Diane's report? These 3 words in a word problem mean subtraction. With subtraction, you put the larger number on the top, line up that smaller number by place value, and then subtract. So let me zoom in. I need to borrow here, so I take one of those. That's a 10 that I've borrowed, and I'm giving it to that one to get 14. So 14 minus 5 is 9. Use your fingers if you need to. 6 minus 4 is 2. And here I need to borrow again. I'm taking a 6 from a 3. So I'm going to borrow one of those and give it to this one. Okay, so we're going to give, let me just do it. Let's take this away and make it 13. 13 minus 6 is 7, and then 1 minus 1 is 0. You don't need that 0 in your answer. It's what I like to call a ghost 0. It floats in, floats out. If you need it, use it. If you don't, it goes away. So the answer to number 4 is C, 729 words. Number 15. Find the sum. It's addition. So 1825, 414, and we are finding the sum. So we have 9, 3, 12, carry 1, and 2. So the answer to number 5 is D. I like these better than rounding, although I like rounding now that I'm used to it. Number 6. Chris has 256 gigabytes of memory on his phone. Jeff's phone has 64 gigabytes of memory. How much more memory does Chris's phone have than Jeff's phone? So here is the key phrase. Also, the word than indicates subtraction, usually. So we have 256, that's the larger number. If you have the calculator, use it. You do have to borrow here. So this becomes a 1 and this becomes a 15. 9 and 1. The difference in these 2 gigabytes is B, 192. Number 7. Let me back up just a minute. This is completely unrelated to this problem, but I want to tell you this. MB is megabyte. GB is gigabyte. You see those in science and math a lot. Um, just for your knowledge, I want you to know what those two are. Okay. Number 7 is to find the difference. 5,672 minus 3,438. Make sure that you are lining these up straight, because that will get you confused if you have large numbers. I cannot take 8 from 2, so let me take one of those from 7. That's going to be a 6, and I'll give it to that 2. So 12 minus 2 is 4. 12 minus 8 is 4. 6 minus 3 is 3. Don't borrow unless you have to. Just because you borrow on the first line doesn't mean you'll have to on the others. 6 minus 4, I don't need to borrow. 5 minus 3, I don't need to borrow. So don't go wild with borrowing. Just borrow as you go if you need to. The answer to number 7 is A. Number 8. Juanita's house has 1,340 square feet. She puts an addition on her house that is 268 square feet. What is the total square footage of her house, including the addition? So look at all those keywords. You could even model this one with a picture. Sometimes with word problems it really helps to have a picture. So here's her house. That is 1,340 square feet. And she is going to add on to her house. Maybe she's putting a sunroom out there. That's 268 square feet. So to solve this problem, they're screaming at me with those keywords. We need to add. Line up correctly. That's so important, especially if you have a learning disability like I do. You have to pay very close attention to how you line up things. Okay, so this is 0 carry 1. So there's 5 plus that 1 is 6, and then the 1 comes down. You can picture a 0 there. 1 plus nothing is 1. So after the construction, the answer to number 8 is C. I'm pretty sure that all of us can add. That's not what I'm concerned about here. I'm concerned about the keywords and you understanding the problem. What they're asking you to do is the critical thing. Number 9. Carolyn has 267 gallons of in her pool. She drains 123 gallons out of the pool. Which 3 statements are true? Well, before I even look at those, I'm going to look at my problem. Drains out. That suggests to me that she is taking away water. So 267 take away 123 is going to be 144 gallons if I need that. Now be careful here. Look at what it says. Which 3 statements? So you and I have to come up with 3 answers here that are true. A says the word gallons indicates addition. Well, that's just not true. Gallons is a measurement of capacity. And we didn't add in this problem. The words drains and out indicate subtraction. That is true. We highlighted those. You can't see that, can you, that I highlighted, but I did. Drains and out. Caroline has 144 gallons of water left in her pool. That's true. We found that with subtraction. Caroline has 390 gallons of water left in her pool. That's false, but I can tell you how they found that number. They did 267 plus 123, I believe. Let's check it out. Yes. So that would be an easy mistake to make. E says to add 267 and 123 to find how many gallons are in the pool. That's what they did at D and missed it, so that's a false statement. Subtract 123 from 267 to find how many gallons are in the pool. That is what we did. So the three answers are B, C, and F. The math on this problem is pretty basic. It's a basic subtraction problem. That's probably third grade math if you got right down to it. But the reasoning and the reading are not third grade level. That's where you have to be so careful. It's in the reasoning and the thinking skills that they will get us if we're not very careful. A lot of people would pick B and stop because they didn't catch the three statements. Just have to read very closely. Okay, number 10. David and Jen have one car payment of $268 per month and another car payment of $337 per month. How much do David and Jen pay for both of their cars each month? So here are some keywords that are suggesting to me what I need to do. 268 and 337, both of the cars together. I apologize if you hear the phone. Carry 1. That's going to be 10. 5, 6. So the answer to number 10 is D, 605. I am being bombarded with political calls. That's all I get here at home. Okay, number 11. Chelsea is at a camp that has an elevation of 6,785 feet. Now, let me show you a picture of this one. Elevation is height. So here's camp that is at 6,785. So that's the elevation of the camp. She hikes downhill. So she's going down the hill and changes her elevation by this much. What is Chelsea's new elevation? And I have a rule that I follow myself. If I'm doing a math problem about someone or something that's moving, I always draw it. Even if it's a flea jumping, or a snail crawling, or a spaceship in outer space traveling at thousands of miles an hour. Whatever it is, I draw it if there's movement, and that has always helped me. So this problem is the camp elevation minus her hike will give us her new location. So this is not about knowing how to subtract. It's about knowing when to subtract and knowing how to set the problem up to get what you need. So the answer to number 11 is B. Number 12. Jason combines 382 milliliters of water and 149 milliliters of oil. What is the new volume of the mixture? And volume just means the new quantity, the new amount of the mixture. Well, if he's combining, he is adding So let's add these up. Again, HiSET folks have a calculator. So I'm thinking the answer to number 12 is C, 531 milliliters. Number 13. Kim makes 360 bracelets and sells 328 of them. How many bracelets does Kim have left? Those are keywords for subtraction. So 360 is what she made, and she was able to sell most of those, 328 of those. So we have to borrow from the 6. Let me do that in a different color, and we give that to this one. 10 minus 8 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. And then, of course, there's nothing in that hundreds column. So the answer to number 13 is B. 32 bracelets left. Keywords will help you, my friends. Number 14. Mitch boards a jet and flies 1,697 miles and then transfers to another jet and flies 352 miles. What is the total number of miles Mitch flies? So you have ands, that indicates addition. You also have total. But since this problem involves movement, I am going to stick to my rule and draw it. So here's how this one could look. Mitch gets on the plane and he gets off the plane. He got on the plane, he was at 0 miles. But something happened in the middle there. He flew a lot of miles. He flew 1,697 miles, and then he transferred to another plane. After he got on the new plane, he went 352 miles. So we're adding those two amounts. We are combining his travel mileage. So 1,697, 352 is 9, 10 carry 1, So I think his total time is D. 2,049 miles. Number 15. Judy climbs 298 feet up the side of a mountain. She climbs down 133 feet vertically before stopping. At what height does Judy stop climbing? Well, hopefully you realize that Judy's moving. Okay. So let's draw ourselves a little mountain right here. I'm going to put a peak on that mountain. So she climbs up the mountain 298 feet and she gets to the top. She's going this way. And then she starts back down, but she only goes 133 feet and stops. And we want to know where she is when she stops. So we have her 298 feet up on the top of the mountain minus some feet back down. And she is at a new altitude or a new elevation. I'm going to say A, 165 feet. She's not back to the ground yet. She's only about halfway, little less than halfway down the side of that mountain. Okay, number 16. Hannah runs a marathon in 218 minutes. She runs a second marathon in 184 minutes. How much faster is Hannah's second time than her first? Okay, before I show you the keywords, I want to show you how to draw this one. This is a good one to use the drawing. Let's do her first marathon right here. Now the thing I have to realize is that a marathon is the same distance every time. This time it took her 218 minutes to do the marathon. That's the first one she ran. So let me do a picture because she's moving. Same distance, but the second time she ran it in a lot less time. It only took her 184 minutes to run the marathon. So what I'm looking for is the difference in those times. Here are the clues. A word that ends in "er." Faster, longer, higher, smaller, taller, older. Those are subtraction words. And also the word "than." That indicates that I need to subtract. So I'm taking this time minus this time to see how much she improved. And you do have to borrow here. So 34 minutes of improvement. That's pretty darn good for a marathon. So she definitely got better. She must have been practicing running a lot more before the second one. So I'm going to say C is the answer to number 16. Oscar loads 372 pounds of dirt into a dump truck. He adds 425 more pounds of dirt. How many total pounds of dirt does Oscar load in the truck? So 372 plus 425 will tell us the answer. The answer to number 17 is B. 797 pounds of dirt. He's getting close to half a ton. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, so half a ton is 1,000 pounds, which has nothing to do with that. Just info that you might need sometimes. Monica has $3,568 in her checking account. She deposits her paycheck, which is $1,259. How much money is in Monica's checking account now? Well, if she had this much, and depositing is adding money to the account, withdrawing is subtracting, but she's adding money to her account. So 7 carry 1, 12 carry 1, 8 and 4. So her new balance, her now balance is D, $4,827. Todd is buying a television originally priced at $899. After a discount of $125, what is the price of the television before taxes? A discount is taking away money. It's like a coupon. So you take off a discount. And that leaves us with 774. Answer is C. If you have a calculator on these, life's real good. But if you don't, you can do them. It's okay. One day, John picks 457 blueberries. The next day, he picks 322 more blueberries. Which 3 statements are true? So this question will have 3 answers. Now this would not happen on the high set, but it could happen on the tape. So it depends on which test you're preparing for as to how that would work. But just read carefully and you'll be okay. I'm going to go ahead and solve this problem just because that's what I do. More is addition. So we're going to add um, 779 blueberries over those 2 days. So we're looking at true-false statements. The word more indicates addition. That is true. So that's one of our answers right there. The word picks indicates subtraction. No. Picks is a verb that just means selects. It does not mean subtraction. And we didn't subtract. John picked 779 blueberries over 2 days. That is true. We saw that with the addition. John picks 135 blueberries over 2 days. That's false. They have subtracted those numbers to get 135. Add 457 and 322 to find how many blueberries John picks. That's exactly what we did. Subtract the two numbers to find how many he picks. That is false. So the three true statements are A, C, and E. So this question could be worth 3 points. If you don't get any of them right, you get no points. If you got one of them, you get 1 point. You get partial credit on these TABE questions like this. If you have questions on the skills covered in this lesson, please contact your instructor. He or she will be able to help you or answer any questions that you have. And I will see you for the next lesson, practice 4. We will be multiplying with 1 and 2 digit numbers. Have a great day.